The silence of deep space broke with a sound no human had ever heard before. Captain Lisa Morgan sat in her command chair aboard the UES Thunderhawk when the ship's communication system crackled to life. Strange music filled the bridge, followed by words in a language that seemed to sing and hum at the same time. "Captain, we're picking up a transmission," said Lieutenant Amy Chen from her station. "It's coming from the Kepler 442 system, about 30 light-years from here." Lisa leaned forward in her chair. "Can you translate it?" Amy's fingers danced across her control panel. "The AI is working on it now. The signal is repeating every few minutes. It seems urgent." The bridge crew worked quietly as their ship drifted through the dark between stars. The Thunderhawk was one of Earth's newest ships, built for long-range patrol missions beyond human space. Lisa had been captain for 3 years, but she had never encountered anything like this. "Translation coming through now," Amy announced. The musical alien sounds faded, replaced by a mechanical voice speaking clear English. "To any who can hear this message, we are the Zelthani of the world Ethros. We are dying. The Krex Empire comes to destroy us all. We have no weapons, we have no soldiers. We offer everything we have to anyone who will help us. Please, someone must hear us. We have only cycles left before they arrive." The message repeated, and Lisa felt her stomach tighten. She had heard stories about alien civilizations from the deep space exploration teams, but this was different. This was a cry for help. "How far away is their system?" she asked. 32 light-years, Captain," replied her navigation officer, Lieutenant Jake Martinez. "If we push the engines hard, we could be there in 6 days." Lisa stared at the main screen showing the starfield ahead. Earth's policy was clear about contact with alien species. They were supposed to observe and report back, not get involved in alien conflicts. But this message was different. These beings were asking for help against something called the Krex Empire. "Amy, send this transmission to Earth Defense Command immediately." "Priority 1, Lisa ordered. "And keep monitoring their signal. I want to know everything about these Zelthani and the Krex." Back on Earth, the alien distress call reached the command center within minutes. Commander Jake Sullivan read the translated message 3 times before calling an emergency meeting. He had spent his career preparing for first contact with alien life, but not like this. Admiral Kate Williams arrived at the command center within an hour, followed by General Ryan Parker from the Army. The 3 of them sat in a secure conference room, listening to the alien message play over and over. "What do we know about this Krex Empire?" Admiral Williams asked. Jake pulled up files on his tablet. "Our deep space scouts have picked up radio signals from that region before. From what we can understand, the Krex are aggressive. They seem to attack peaceful worlds and take them over. The Zelthani aren't the first species to send out distress calls about them." General Parker crossed his arms. "And what happened to the others?" "The signal stopped," Jake said quietly. The room fell silent. Admiral Williams looked at the star chart on the wall, showing the location of the Kepler 442 system. It was far from Earth, but not impossible to reach. "Tell me about the Zelthani," she said. Jake switched to another file. "From their transmissions, they appear to be crystal-based life forms. They live in harmony with their planet's ecosystem. They've never developed weapons or military technology. They seem to be completely peaceful. And now they're about to be wiped out," General Parker said. Admiral Williams stood up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see the lights of Earth's capital city. Millions of people going about their lives not knowing that somewhere in the galaxy, an entire species was begging for help. "What's our current fleet status?" she asked. "We have 12 battle groups ready for deployment," General Parker replied. "The new ships are all operational. We could have a significant force ready to move within 48 hours. Jake looked uncomfortable. "Admiral, our standing orders are non-interference in alien conflicts. The Council of Nations was very clear about this." Admiral Williams turned around. "The Council of Nations never imagined we'd encounter a genocide in progress." She walked back to the table and looked at both men. "How long do the Zelthani have?" "Based on their transmissions, maybe a week before the Krex arrive in force," Jake answered. The Admiral was quiet for a long moment. She thought about her daughter, safe at home with her family. She thought about all the people on Earth who had never had to face the choice between survival and extinction. These Zelthani had no choice at all. "What kind of force are we talking about?" she asked General Parker. "The Kreks appear to use overwhelming numbers. Intelligence suggests they have hundreds of ships heading for the Zelthani system. But their technology seems basic compared to ours. They rely on fear and superior numbers rather than advanced weapons." Admiral Williams nodded. Earth's military had been preparing for potential alien threats for decades. Their ships were built tough, with powerful weapons and strong armor. They had trained for space combat that might never come. Now it seemed that training might be needed. "What about the Zelthani's offer?" she asked. "They said they'd give everything they have." Jake shook his head. "Admiral, they're not offering payment. They're offering everything because they're desperate. These beings have never known war. They don't understand that some species might help without expecting anything in return." General Parker leaned forward. "If we do this, it won't be a small operation. We'd need to commit serious firepower to have any chance against hundreds of Krek ships." Admiral Williams looked at the star chart again. Somewhere out there, crystal beings were counting down their final days, hoping someone would hear their call for help. She thought about Earth's history, about all the times humans had faced extinction and survived. These Zelthani had no such experience. "Jake, what's the legal situation if we intervene?" "Technically, it would be our first act of war against an alien species, but it would also be our first humanitarian mission beyond Earth's borders." The Admiral made her decision. She had not risen to her position by avoiding difficult choices. Earth had the power to help, and sometimes that was enough. "Contact Captain Morgan on the Thunderhawk. Tell her to maintain position and keep monitoring the situation, then start mobilizing the fleet." She looked at both men. "We don't abandon innocents to slaughter. Prep the fleet for deployment." General Parker nodded. "How many ships?" "All of them," Admiral Williams said. "If we're going to do this, we do it right. The Kreks Empire is about to learn what happens when you threaten peaceful beings while humans are watching." As the meeting ended and the two men left to begin preparations, Admiral Williams remained alone in the conference room. She knew that this decision would change everything. Earth was about to announce its presence to the galaxy in the most dramatic way possible. She just hoped they would arrive in time. The message spread through Earth's military bases like wildfire. Within hours, every ship captain, every crew member, and every support staff knew about the mission. They were going to save an alien species from extinction. It would be the largest fleet Earth had ever assembled. Captain Steve Johnson stood on the bridge of the UES Vengeance, watching smaller ships dock with his massive dreadnought. The Vengeance was one of Earth's most powerful warships, armed with railguns that could punch through asteroids and plasma cannons that burned hotter than stars. He had commanded her for 5 years, but never in a mission like this. "Captain, the supply ships are finishing their loading," reported his first officer, Lieutenant Commander Bill Hayes. "We'll have enough food and ammunition for 6 months of combat operations." Steve nodded, but his mind was elsewhere. He was thinking about the alien message they had all heard. The desperation in those translated words haunted him. These Zelthani had never hurt anyone, and now they faced complete destruction. "Any word on our escort ships?" he asked. "The destroyers are forming up now. Captain Torres should have her carrier group ready within the hour." Across the fleet formation, Commander Rachel Torres was indeed preparing her ships. The UES Liberty was Earth's newest aircraft carrier, designed to launch fighter squadrons in space battles. Rachel walked through the hangar bay, watching her. Pilots checked their small, fast ships. "How are we looking, Chief?" she asked Chief Petty Officer Dan Brooks, her head mechanic. "All fighters are ready, ma'am. The pilots are eager to go. They've been training for space combat their whole careers, and now they finally get to use it for something that matters." Rachel understood that feeling. Every person in Earth's military had joined to protect their home world. Now they had a chance to protect someone else's home, too. In the research labs of the fleet's science ship, Dr. Helen Brooks worked frantically to understand everything she could about the Zelthani. She had only the information from their distress signals, but it painted a picture of a fascinating species. "They're made of living crystal," she explained to her team of scientists. "Their bodies can store and transmit energy like organic computers. They've lived in perfect harmony with their planet for thousands of years. Her assistant, Dr. Mark Davis, looked up from his computer. That explains why they never developed weapons. Their entire evolution was based on cooperation, not competition. Dr. Brooks felt sick thinking about what would happen to such peaceful beings. The Kreks will destroy something beautiful that can never be replaced. These Zelthani represent a completely different path of evolution, one based on peace instead of conflict. Meanwhile, in the Intelligence Center, Major Chris Davis studied everything Earth's long-range sensors had gathered about the Kreks Empire. The information was disturbing. "They're not like anything we've seen before," he told his team. The Kreks, ships are grown, not built. They use biological technology like living weapons. But here's the interesting part. They've never fought anyone who fought back. His intelligence officer, Captain Linda Ross, pulled up tactical displays. Every species they've conquered was peaceful. Like the Zelthani, they rely on fear and overwhelming numbers. They surround a planet with hundreds of ships and demand surrender. "What happens if the species refuses to surrender?" asked Major Davis. "They destroy everything, every city, every population center. Then they strip the planet of resources and move on to the next target." Major Davis stared at the reports. The Kreks had wiped out dozens of civilizations this way. They were like a plague spreading across the galaxy, destroying everything in their path. "Have they ever faced military resistance?" he asked. Captain Ross shook her head. "Never. Every species they've encountered has been peaceful. They have no experience fighting against actual soldiers or military technology." This gave Major Davis hope. Earth's military was different from anything the Kreks had ever seen. Humans had been fighting wars for thousands of years. They had developed weapons and tactics through centuries of conflict. The Kreks might be in for a nasty surprise. Fleet Admiral Sam Rodriguez stood in the command center, watching the massive fleet take shape outside. Over 200 ships of various sizes were assembling. Dreadnoughts, cruisers, destroyers, carriers, and support vessels. It was the most powerful force humanity had ever created. "Admiral, we're receiving final crew reports," said his aide, Colonel Gary Mitchell. "Every ship is at full strength. Morale is extremely high." Admiral Rodriguez wasn't surprised. When word had spread about the mission, volunteers had flooded in from every branch of Earth's military. Retired veterans had requested to return to active duty. Young recruits had begged to be assigned to the fleet. Everyone wanted to be part of humanity's first rescue mission to save an alien species. "What's our timeline?" the Admiral asked. "We can depart in 6 hours. Travel time to the Kepler 442 system will be 4 days if we push the engines hard." The Admiral looked at the latest intelligence reports. "And how long do the Zelthani have?" "Based on their most recent transmissions, the Kreks advance fleet will reach their system in 5 days. The main Kreks armada will arrive shortly after. It would be close, but they might make it in time." Admiral Rodriguez opened a fleet-wide communication channel. Every ship, every crew member would hear his words. "People of Earth's defense fleet," he began, his voice carrying to hundreds of thousands of military personnel. "Today, we embark on a mission unlike any in human history. We go not to conquer, but to protect. We go not for territory or resources, but to save lives." He paused, thinking about the magnitude of what they were attempting. The Zelthani have never known war. They have lived in peace for thousands of years, creating beauty and knowledge. Now they face extinction from an empire that destroys worlds. For sport, they sent out a cry for help across the galaxy, and we are the only ones who answered. The Admiral's voice grew stronger. "Some of you may wonder why we risk our lives for aliens we've never met. The answer is simple. Because it's right. Because when innocents face slaughter, we don't turn away. We are the children of Earth, forged by a world that tried to kill us every day. We survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and disasters. We became strong because we had to. Now we use that strength to protect those who never had to become strong themselves." Throughout the fleet, crew members listened with growing determination. They were part of something historic, something that would define humanity's place in the galaxy. "The Kreks Empire has never faced resistance," Admiral Rodriguez continued. "They have crushed peaceful civilizations through fear and numbers alone. They are about to learn what happens when they threaten innocence while humans are watching. Today we show the galaxy what Earth is capable of when we fight for others instead of ourselves. As his speech ended, the final preparations began. Supply ships detached from the warships and headed back to Earth. Navigation computers calculated the fastest route to Kepler 442. Weapons systems ran final diagnostics. Captain Johnson felt the Vengeance's engines begin their startup sequence. Around him, his crew prepared for humanity's first interstellar war. In a few hours, they would enter hyperspace and race across the galaxy to face an enemy that had never lost a battle. But the Kreks had never fought humans before. They were about to discover why Earth was called a death world, and why its children were the most dangerous warriors in the galaxy. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler 442 system with a flash of blue light. Captain Lisa Morgan gripped her command chair as the Thunderhawk's sensors immediately began screaming warnings. The main screen filled with red dots, hundreds of enemy ships surrounding a beautiful blue-green world. "Contact confirmed," reported Lieutenant Amy Chen. "I'm reading over 300 Kreks vessels in orbit around the planet. They have the world completely surrounded." Lisa stared at the tactical display. The Kreks ships looked strange on her screens. Organic shapes that seemed to pulse and move like living creatures rather than metal vessels. They were arranged in a perfect blockade around the planet Ethros. "What about the Zelthani?" she asked. Amy worked at her console, scanning for alien life signs. "I'm detecting massive energy barriers around their major cities. The barriers are holding, but they're getting weaker. The Kreks are hitting them with some kind of weapon that drains their power." Admiral Rodriguez's voice came over the fleet. "Communication system. All ships, this is Admiral Rodriguez. We've arrived just in time. The Zelthani are still alive, but their defenses won't last much longer. Prepare for combat operations." Commander Tony Walsh, the fleet's communication officer, tried to establish contact with the planet below. After a few minutes, his efforts were rewarded. A musical voice came through the speakers, speaking in the singing language of the Zelthani. "This is Prime Speaker Veltash of the Zelthani Council," the translation came through. "Who are you? How did you find us?" Tony looked at Admiral Rodriguez, who nodded. "This is Admiral Rodriguez of the Earth Defense Fleet. We received your distress call. We're here to help." There was a long silence from the planet. When the alien voice returned, it sounded amazed. You came? Someone actually came to help us? We sent our call to dozens of star systems. We thought no one would answer." Admiral Rodriguez felt a mixture of anger and sadness. These peaceful beings had cried for help across the galaxy, and only Earth had responded. "We're here now. Can you tell us about your situation?" Prime Speaker Veltash explained through the translator. "The Kreks gave us an ultimatum 3 days ago. Complete surrender and slavery, or they will destroy every living thing on our world. We have no weapons, no soldiers. We can only maintain our city shields for perhaps one more day." The Admiral looked at his tactical displays. The Kreks fleet was massive, but their ships seemed to be just sitting in orbit waiting. They weren't even trying to break through the Zelthani shields quickly. They were enjoying the terror they were causing. "All ships, battle stations," Admiral Rodriguez ordered. "We're going in." Captain Steve Johnson felt the Vengeance surge forward as the dreadnought moved toward the enemy fleet. His weapons officer, Lieutenant Mike Torres, began targeting the nearest Krek ships. "Captain, their ships are strange," Mike reported. "They're definitely biological. They look like they're grown rather than built. I'm not sure how our weapons will affect them." "Only one way to find out," Steve replied. "All weapons, fire when ready." The Vengeance's main railgun fired first. The metal projectile traveled at incredible speed and struck a Kreks cruiser directly in its center section. The result was immediate and devastating. The alien ship literally exploded, organic matter scattering in all directions. "Direct hit," Mike shouted. "That ship is completely destroyed." Across the human fleet, similar scenes played out. Earth's weapons, designed to penetrate the strongest armor, tore through Kreks bioships like they were made of paper. Plasma cannons melted through their organic hulls, and missile strikes caused massive internal explosions. On the lead Krex command ship, Admiral Thakmor watched in horror as his fleet began dying. The Krex were tall insect-like creatures with 4 arms and compound eyes. Thakmor had commanded fleets for decades, conquering peaceful world after peaceful world. He had never seen anything like this. "What are these ships?" He clicked to his subordinates in the Krex language. Where did they come from? His tactical officer, a younger Krex named Velkoth, studied the scanner readings. "Admiral, these vessels are unlike anything in our databases. Their weapons are incredibly powerful. Their armor seems to be some kind of metal composite we've never encountered." "And their tactics?" Thakmor demanded. "Coordinated, aggressive, professional. Admiral, these are soldiers. Real soldiers. Not like the peaceful species we usually encounter." Thakmor felt something he hadn't experienced in years: fear. His fleet outnumbered the newcomers by more than 2-1, but they were losing badly. Krex ships died by the dozens while the strange vessels seemed almost untouchable. Commander Rachel Torres launched her fighters from the Liberty. The small, fast ships swarmed toward the Krex fleet like angry wasps. Her pilots had trained for this moment their entire careers. "Phoenix Squadron, target their escort vessels," she ordered over the radio. "Eagle Squadron, go after their command ships. Show them what Earth pilots can do." The fighters moved with deadly precision. They were faster and more maneuverable than the larger Krex vessels, darting between the enemy ships and striking at weak points. The Krex had no experience fighting small, fast targets. Their weapons were designed to destroy planets and large ships, not tiny fighters. Lieutenant Sarah Kim, Flying Phoenix leader, locked onto a Krex destroyer. "Fox 1 missiles away," she called out as her ship fired. The missiles struck the bioship's control center, causing it to spin out of control and crash into another Krex vessel. "Scratch 2 more," Sarah reported. Around her, other human pilots were having similar success. The Krex fleet was falling apart. Back on the planet, Prime Speaker Veltash watched the battle through the Zelthani's crystal sensors. The tall, translucent being had never seen warfare before, but even he could tell that the newcomers were winning. "How is this possible?" he asked his fellow council members. "The Krex Empire has conquered hundreds of worlds. They have never been defeated." Elder Morthak, the oldest of the Zelthani, studied the energy readings from the battle. "These humans are different from any species we have encountered. Their technology is advanced, but more than that, they know how to fight. They have experience in warfare." "But why would they help us?" asked another council member. "We have nothing to offer them that they cannot take by force if they wished." Prime Speaker Veltash had no answer. The concept of helping others without expecting something in return was foreign to galactic politics. Most spacefaring species were either peaceful like the Zelthani or aggressive like the Krex. These humans seemed to be something else entirely. The battle continued to rage in space above them. Human ships moved with purpose and coordination, while the Krex fleet grew more desperate. Several Krex ships tried to flee, but human destroyers cut them off and destroyed them before they could escape. Admiral Thakmor realized his fleet was doomed. In desperation, he opened a communication channel to the greater Krex Empire, broadcasting on all frequencies. "This is Admiral Thakmor of the Conquest Fleet," he transmitted. "We are under attack by unknown vessels. The enemy is incredibly powerful. They fight like the old legends speak of the Deathworlders. I believe these are the mythical humans from the Forbidden Zones." His transmission was interrupted as a human railgun projectile struck his command ship. As the bio-vessel began to die around him, Thakmor managed one final message. The legends were true. They come from the hell world called Earth. Beware the humans. Beware the Deathworlders. The Krex command ship exploded in a ball of organic fire. Across the battlefield, the remaining Krex vessels began to flee in panic. The humans had won a complete victory. On the planet below, the Zelthani watched in amazement as their energy barriers, no longer under attack, began to stabilize and strengthen. They were safe. The impossible had happened. Someone had actually come to save them. The silence after battle felt strange to Captain Lisa Morgan. Where hundreds of Krex ships had filled the space around Ethros, now only scattered debris remained. The human fleet had won completely, losing only 3 ships in the entire engagement. The Krex Empire's most powerful armada had been destroyed in less than 6 hours. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the planet," reported Lieutenant Amy Chen. "Prime Speaker Veltash is requesting permission to come aboard." Lisa looked at Admiral Rodriguez's image on her screen. The Admiral nodded. "Grant permission. It's time we met the people we came to save." An hour later, Lisa stood in the Thunderhawk's hangar bay as a small Zelthani transport ship docked with her vessel. The airlock opened, and she got her first look at the beings Earth had crossed the galaxy to protect. Prime Speaker Veltash was tall and graceful, his body made of living crystal that seemed to glow with inner light. He moved with flowing movements that reminded Lisa of water. Behind him came 2 other Zelthani, their crystal forms shimmering in different colors. "Captain Morgan," Veltash said through his translator device. "I am Prime Speaker Veltash. I represent all Zelthani on Ethros. We owe you a debt we can never repay." Lisa felt uncomfortable with the formal tone. "We're just glad we arrived in time. Are your people safe?" "Yes, thanks to you. Our cities are protected once more. Our children can return to the Crystal Gardens. You have given us back our future." Veltash paused, his crystal form shifting to a deeper blue color. "But I must ask, why did you help us? We sent our plea across dozens of star systems. Only Earth answered." Lisa didn't know how to explain it. "Because it was the right thing to do. When someone asks for help, you help them if you can." Veltash seemed amazed by this simple answer. "In our study of galactic politics, species help others only when they expect something in return." "What do you want from us?" "Nothing," Lisa said. "We just want you to be safe and free." The Zelthani delegation looked at each other in wonder. This concept seemed impossible to them. Meanwhile, Dr. Helen Brooks was working with Zelthani scientists to help repair damage to their cities. The crystal beings had welcomed her medical team with curiosity and gratitude. Their technology was fascinating. They could grow buildings and heal injuries using harmonic frequencies that resonated with their crystal biology. "Your species is remarkable," Dr. Brooks told Veltash during one of their meetings. "You've created a civilization based entirely on cooperation and harmony. We've never seen anything like it. And we have never seen anything like your species," Veltash replied. "You fight with such skill and coordination. Your technology is both advanced and brutal. Where did you learn such warfare?" Dr. Brooks thought about how to explain Earth's history. "Our world was dangerous. We had to learn to fight to survive. Weather, animals, diseases, and unfortunately each other. We became good at warfare because we had no choice." "A death world," Veltash said, quietly. "The Krex called you that in their final transmission. They said you come from a hell world called Earth." Dr. Brooks nodded. "I suppose that's one way to describe it. But our harsh world made us strong, and now we can use that strength to protect others." While the humans helped repair Ethros, news of the battle spread across the galaxy. The Krex Empire's communication networks carried Admiral Thakmor's final warning to every corner of their territory. The message was simple, but terrifying. The Deathworlders were real, and they were coming. Ambassador Maria Santos, Earth's first official representative to galactic civilization, found herself overwhelmed with contact requests. Her communication equipment hadn't stopped ringing since news of the victory reached other species. "Ambassador," her aide reported, "we've received 17 requests for alliance treaties, 23 requests for protection agreements, and 41 requests for diplomatic meetings. The Traders Collective wants to establish trade routes to Earth. The Academic Union wants to exchange scientific knowledge. The Peaceful Worlds Alliance wants to join with us to create a mutual defense pact." Maria stared at the growing list. "What about hostile contacts?" "The hegemony of advanced worlds has demanded we explain our aggressive expansion into their territory. The Supremacy Council has declared us a threat to galactic stability. And the Corporate Federation wants to know if we're available for mercenary work." Maria realized that Earth's intervention had changed everything. Humans were no longer an unknown species on the edge of explored space. They were now a major galactic power, whether they wanted to be or not. Fleet Admiral Rodriguez faced similar challenges. Intelligence reports were pouring in from across Krek's territory. The news of their defeat had caused panic throughout the Empire. Dozens of conquered worlds were rebelling against their Krek's overlords. The Empire that had seemed unstoppable was falling apart. "Admiral," reported Major Chris Davis, "the Krek's home world is in chaos. Their government is collapsing. Several Krek's fleets are fighting each other for control. It looks like their entire empire is breaking apart." Rodriguez studied the intelligence reports. "What about the species they conquered?" "Many are fighting for independence. The Vorthan Republic has declared its freedom. The Methane Worlds Collective is driving out Krek's occupation forces. It seems our victory has inspired others to fight back." Rodriguez felt the weight of responsibility. Earth's single battle had triggered a galactic war, but as he thought about it, he realized it was a war that needed to happen. The Krek's empire had been a plague on the galaxy, destroying peaceful civilizations for centuries. Their defeat was long overdue. Captain Linda Ross brought him the most important intelligence report. "Admiral, we've intercepted communications from the Krek's ruling council. They're preparing to send their entire remaining fleet, over 2,000 ships, to destroy Earth." Rodriguez wasn't surprised. They see us as the greatest threat to their empire. If they can destroy Earth, they might be able to restore their authority over their conquered worlds. "What are your orders, sir?" Rodriguez thought about Earth, about the billions of people who had no idea their planet was now a target. Then he thought about all the species across the galaxy who were fighting for their freedom, because Earth had shown them it was possible to defeat the Kreks. "Contact Earth Defense Command. Tell them we need the entire fleet out here. Every ship, every crew member. This isn't just about protecting the Zelthani anymore. This is about ending the Krek's empire once and for all." On Ethros, Prime Speaker Veltash met with Admiral Rodriguez one final time before the human fleet prepared to leave. The Zelthani leader had an important announcement. "Admiral Rodriguez," Veltash said, "the Zelthani Council has made a decision. We offer our world as a base for your operations. We will provide supplies, repairs, and whatever support we can give. It is the least we can do for those who saved us." Rodriguez was moved by the offer. "We're grateful, but you don't owe us anything." "We owe you everything," Veltash replied. "But more than that, we want to help. You have shown us that there is another way to live in this galaxy, not as victims waiting to be conquered, but as free beings who protect each other." Admiral Rodriguez realized that Earth's mission had accomplished something more important than just saving one species. They had started a revolution. Across the galaxy, peaceful species were learning that they didn't have to live in fear of aggressive empires. They could fight back and they could win. "There's something else," Veltash continued. "We have been monitoring communications across the galaxy. Many species are asking about Earth. They call you the guardian species, the ones who answer distress calls and protect the innocent." Rodriguez smiled. "Guardian species. I like that better than Deathworlders." As the human fleet prepared to face the remaining Krek's forces, Rodriguez knew that Earth's role in the galaxy had been decided. They were no longer just another species, trying to survive. They were the ones others turned to when darkness threatened. They were the guardians of the galaxy, and that was a responsibility they would carry with pride. The stars were calling, and Earth would answer.